What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. Alright, enough of my intro. We have cards to talk about. New cards I haven't covered yet, including, but not limited to, cards coming out in Dawn of Majesty and a card coming out in the vjump as a promo. So, without further ado, let's get into it. First up is Blackclad Dragon Albion. It's a level 8 Dark Dragon effect monster with 2,500 attack, 2,000 defense. Its second effect is a hard once per turn. If this card's name becomes Fallen of Albaz while it's on the field or graveyard. If this card is in your hand or in the graveyard, you can send one Fallen of Albaz or Stigmatika spell or trap from your hand or deck to the graveyard. If this card is in your hand, okay, so yeah, and then you get the following effects. So, hand, special summon it. So if you discard from the hand, you get a special summon it. If it's from the deck, you place this card on the bottom, and then if it was placed from your hand, you get to draw a card. More than likely or not, you're going to be wanting to use that hand effect, the one to special summon it, because overall that one's just going to be the better one. The second one is I really need to draw, or there might be cards in the deck that you just don't want to draw, and yeah. But overall, I don't think you're going to be wanting to use that other one effect, because you're going to be, in my opinion, what you should do with this card is you could, depending on how many level 8s are in the deck, you could play trade in, and then you could discard this card, draw 2 cards, and go from there. Then you could discard one of your Stigmata spell or trap cards to bring it back. So, not a bad card. I just think that you're going to be wanting to send from the hand more times than the deck. Next up is Bond of Stigmatika. It's a normal spell card. You can special summon 1 Fallen of Albaz that is banished or in your hand or graveyard. And then during the end phase, if it's in your graveyard and sent there, because if was sent there this turn to activate the effect of a Fallen Albaz, you can set it. So when you discard it with the Blackclad Dragon of Albion that was in your graveyard that was treated of Fallen of Albaz, you get to set it. It's kind of like it's kind of like the Witchcrafter cards. If the Witchcrafter cards are sent and they weren't activated by their effect, or if they're in the graveyard while you control Witchcrafter, and they're sent there, except for, if you didn't actually play and activate them, but you used them to, for a cost or discard or something, you get to add them back to your hand. This is kind of similar, because that it sets itself. Next up, Springan support. So, we got a continuous trap card called Springans Interluder. And you can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can return a Springan Xyz monster you control to the graveyard. Then apply one of these effects. Negate that activated effect. Oh, excuse me. Special summon 1 level 8 from your graveyard. If a face-up Xyz monster you control leaves the field by card effect, you can make all face-up monsters your opponent control lose 1,000 attack. So I'm not actually too familiar with Springans. I've read them once before, but I don't remember what they're trying to do. Negating things is good. Special summoning is good. So that's a thing. And you make all your opponent's monster lose 1,000 attack when you activate the first effect. That's okay. I don't know how good that's gonna be, though, leaving yourself open like that. But I'll stop talking about this card since I don't know a lot about it. Next up, we have Swordmaster of the Bewitching Iris. So, it's a Spellcaster effect. It's a level 8 and it has 2,500 attack and defense. Its first and second effects are hard once per turn. During the main phase, if a monster whose effects are negated is on the field. Quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. So you can negate an effect, and then you can special summon it. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can activate one of these effects based on where they were special summoned from. If it was from the hand, if your opponent special summons from the hand, you get to draw or you get to special summon a monster from your hand. If they special summon from the deck, you get to destroy one monster that was special or you get to draw 2 cards, and the extra deck is destroy a monster that's special summoned from the extra deck. I think this card is good, and this isn't the first card I've seen this card. I'm in a few groups and everything for certain decks, and I've been seeing people talk about this card in general and talking about playing it and testing it out. So, in spellbooks and witchcrafters and I've seen people say they want to test it out. In witchcrafters, I could definitely see it, because witchcrafters have Madame Vere, and Madame Vere can negate all monsters your opponent controls. So, in that sense, it's really easy to get its effect off to summon itself if you draw it. I think this card is definitely worth testing in certain decks. If you're playing a more stun control deck, and everything, I know that the Dogmatikas can negate stuff too, so if you're playing that, it might be worth testing. But yeah, I think this card is really, really good, and it reminds me of the fairy that I covered yesterday, or one that I covered that was just a good card for fairy decks. This card just seems like a good card in general, though. So yeah, definitely probably look out for this card. This card I can see being one of those super expensive cards, or and if it's not super expensive, I could see it being a a good tech card in certain decks. Next up, we have the vjump promo of Sea Répétiteur, which is a level 5 water sea serpent synchro tuner with 1800 attack, 1500 defense. It requires a Deep Sea Diva and then 1 or more non-tuner monsters. That's okay, because Deep Sea Diva, if its effect resolves, is a 1 card this anyway. So, its second effect is a hard once per turn. Once per turn, on its first effect, quick effect, you can discard a 1 level 4 or lower water monster. This card gains 800 attack until the end of this turn. If this card is synchro summoned into the graveyard, you can target a level 5 or higher water monster in your graveyard, except for itself. Special summon it, but you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except for water monsters. So, its first effect, it gaining 800 attack, that's not very good. However, the fact that you have to discard a water monster as a cost is actually really important, because that lets you synergize with the Atlanteans and the Atlantean, like Dragoons and all of that. So Dragoons is a good tutor in the deck. A searcher, I should say. Tutor is a magic term, because any card that searches is referencing a card that had tutor in the name. But yeah, it lets you search any card if you discard a Dragoon. If you play the other Atlanteans, which people stop playing, but if you played any of the other Atlanteans, one of them pops set cards, one of them pops face-up cards, so you could do that as well. And this second effect of summoning a level 5 or higher water monster, except for itself, is pretty easy to pull off, because you can synchro summon with this card and go from there. So I think this card is pretty decent. The Deep Sea Diva, or the Deep Sea deck, seems to be getting enough support to be playable as a Deep Sea Atlantean deck. So at least as a more casual, fun deck. So if you guys want to play that deck, I would suggest playing it. It does look like a lot of fun. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it is your birthday today, happy birthday, and if you want to send me any cool deck profiles or replays, my email's in the description. I would love to see them, and of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.